Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply the principles of interiorism to living your best life, to living free, to healing your life in 2025. And I just want to continue along the vein in the series that we've been doing on the principles of interiorism. I think it's very important to reestablish the principles upon which my company and my channel were founded so that you can get an idea of exactly what they are so that you can apply them to your life. Ladies and gentlemen, 2025, I believe, is a very special year. It's a year of acceleration. And a symbol of that, of course, while the real Javier Novoa is not associated with any religious group or movement, the Catholic Church has declared that 2025 is going to be a Jubilee year. And of course, a Jubilee year in the Catholic Church happens, I believe, only once every 25 to 50 years. I believe it happened last in the year 2000. And this is just symbolic. Of course, according to the biblical scripture, a Jubilee year is a year when all of the debts are forgiven and when more prosperity is expected for the society because all of the debts have been wiped out. Of course, this year, in this moment, and every moment, all of your debts have been wiped out. You just have to free yourself mentally and psychologically from them. Any debt that you have is only imposed upon you because you accept it as such. If you free yourself from it, then you're free. And no matter what happens on that outer film roll, of course, you still follow the script. We're not saying stop paying your debts today, although that may very well be a step for you depending upon the circumstances. You can keep paying those installments, but just know interiorly, it's why we call it interiorism, that those debts are forgiven, and soon you will be on a film roll in which you never even had a debt. And this applies to every headwind, let's call it, in your life, whether it's a debt, whether it's something preventing you from getting what you want, whether it's a no, whether it's a door closed on your business, all of that is obliterated. And this year being a Jubilee year can be a symbol of that, a powerful symbol that can help you. Of course, as Bashar calls it, it can be a permission slip. This year is special for many other ways. We've talked about it in previous videos. I believe the next 4 years are going to actually be the easiest years to get rich. A combination of advances in artificial intelligence, a combination of more investments becoming available. Guys, you can now buy fractional shares of stocks on many apps, including M1, Finance, and other apps. You couldn't do that before. So a stock like Amazon or a stock like Apple, you can buy fractional shares. If you don't have the full hundreds of dollars it takes to buy a share, you can buy fractional shares and you can benefit from that. It's never been easier to become wealthy. And at the same time, of course, for those on the other vibrational wavelength, it's never been harder. So times are going to be very, very tough for the people who are on the film roll of times being tough, and times are going to get very, very easy for people who manage to get on the psychological film roll of it's easy for me to attain wealth. It's easy for me to live the life that I want to live. And the great spiritual teacher Bashar has been talking a lot about this in late years. He's gone so far as to say that every single person has his own universe. And that's true. Every single person has his own world because, as interiorism teaches, there is only one. We're all just points of consciousness for that one. So we all have our own universe, but due to the nature of the times, it's very easy now. There are windows outside of your universe into others' universes. So you can see their universe and you'll be able to see it more clearly, but it cannot touch you as long as you remain on that film roll of your universe. So, healing. I wanted to talk about healing in this video because somebody very close to me, a relative, has been going through some hard health issues lately. And I know a lot of people who've been going through hard health issues. And there is healing, guys. In fact, you can heal yourself and others instantly. And the Bible is replete with healing. And I love the word and the term healing because it not only applies to issues of health and illness and health and so on and so forth, it applies to everything in your life. And I learned this when I was in my 20s and I was starting to study spirituality. And I worked with a person. Of course, we were all very poor. We were working a menial job. But I had the privilege of working with a person who had a Christian Science background and was very spiritual, studied Buddhism. And he would be lacking money. And then, of course, he would do his meditation. And then he would get the money at the last minute somehow through some other means. He would always get the money that he needed at the last minute. And he would tell me, Javier, I've experienced a financial healing. And I came to know that the Christian Scientists call this any kind of betterment of circumstances healing. And of course, the prototype of it is the healing in the Bible of the sick. Jesus healed the blind, he healed the lame, he healed the paralytic, and so on and so forth. But healing actually comes from the same root word as the word whole and the word holy. And healing is to make your circumstances whole. So whatever you're lacking this year, you can and will have a healing. It could be a financial healing. It could be a health healing. It could be a relationship healing. You can heal your relationships. And of course, another biblical adage is that God will restore the lost years. God will restore what was eaten by the locusts. And this ties very much into interiorism because remember, we can change not only the future and the present, but we can change the past. And we change the past by, in the present, becoming that version of the person that we wanted to be all along, healing. And Bashar talks about this in reference to a person who wanted to quit smoking. And of course, you could go through all the 12-step programs to quit smoking, but you're always going to be a smoker. You're always going to be craving a cigarette. But what if you could heal yourself completely and get yourself onto another film role where you never started smoking in the first place? It's very easy to do, guys. And in fact, it doesn't even require a method. Any of these healings do not require a method. All it requires you to do is declare. And we're going to explain a little bit why. You see, because there are effective methods, and we've talked about them in past videos, and this is for healing yourself, this is for healing others, this is for changing anything in your sphere of consciousness, in your universe. There are steps to it. Your brain must get into alpha waves in order to then pick or choose another film role that you want to be on, and then you must believe that you are on that film role. You must train your body to be on that film role. And once your body believes it and surrenders to it, your heart and mind are in alignment, so to speak, and boom, you see the result of that. But this is very difficult. It takes a long time. The true way to do it and the easy way to do it is bypassing all of these. How? By getting on a higher level. You see, right now, the normal waking level is we're on the physical level. You're on the level of personality. You're on the level of individuality. But if you could get to the level of the One, of God, of the Creator, what the Christian Scientists call getting into spiritual consciousness as opposed to material consciousness, then everything automatically changes all at once because all film roles are simultaneously within you. I hope you understand me just a little bit. So it doesn't take a lot of work. Of course, it helps to get into alpha waves. But here's the secret for why this works. Let's say I want to heal my relative, let's say. So bad reports are coming in. Sometimes it's good reports, sometimes it's bad. Now, A good question to ask is, does this person want to be healed? Because sometimes the person has a decision, whether subconscious or conscious, that they want to allow this to take its course. But when you get to the higher level, you don't have to worry about that. So once you get to that level, everything's automatically corrected. So let's say you get to that level and you make a declaration, no, so-and-so is healed and whole. You might not even believe that in your body. You might even have a negative reaction to that. Now, a good solution to that is to take the Joe Dispenza route, and you actually do train your body. You get in meditation. It could take anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, and it's beautiful. I do it often. And then you get to that neutral wave, you get into the void, and then you basically pick from a menu of possibilities the possibility that you want. You're on it, and then you train your body to acquiesce to that. But what can you do in interiorism to bypass that? You just make the declaration, so-and-so's healed. And the secret is, you don't care about what's going on in the outer. You just say, so-and-so is healed, and by that very declaration, you're already on a wavelength of that having happened. If you've experienced it happening, and then you just say thank you. And you don't care about what happens on the film roll. That's the secret. You have to not care about what happens on the film roll. And then you can immediately revise that. Neville Goddard talked about revision. It's also biblical, where you look at the servant who's about to be dismissed by his master. And so then he found the debtors of his master. And he said, how many barrels of oil do you owe my master? 100. No, sit down and write 50. He changed the amount. You can also change whatever you just saw. And Neville Goddard talks about in many stories about how someone said something to someone. For example, someone was looking for records of an opera, and the store owner said, we don't have that. And the person said, I didn't hear you say that. In his mind, he said, I didn't hear you say that. So he revised it, and then, of course, they saw an advertisement for that opera, basically a cover of an album, and he said, this is false advertising. If you don't have this opera, you should not have this advertisement. And the store clerk said, right you are, sir, and he pulled it down, and it turned out to be the entire series of the records of the opera in there. And so, of course, he sold it to him. He did all this simply by saying, I didn't hear you say that. So if you see the circumstances persist, once you've made the declaration, you just revise. You say, no, that's not happening. You don't have that. I don't see that happening. And by doing that immediately, you heal a circumstance, a financial healing. You imagine yourself counting $100 bills. And you're not imagining it to get it, because if you're imagining it to get it, then yes, you need to get into alpha, you need to get into a meditative state, and then you need to, as you're counting that, actually believe it happens. It takes practice. You should do that anyway, because you're training your body to live in that moment, and then it happens. But the way to have it happen immediately is just to declare it. I have, let's say, $10,000, and then you feel that and you are it then, and then whatever circumstances come up, you simply revise them. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, as interiorism teaches, there's no difference between the inner and the outer. And so what happens in the inner must appear on the outer, and there are many techniques to do that. Now, I want to do a technique right now that is actually going to get your brain into alpha waves very quickly, and then I want you to experience what it is you want. I want you to, for a second, think about the healing that you want this year, this month. It doesn't have to take a year, but this year is a special year, guys. We can make it such because we've just declared it. Every year is a special year, but 2025 is going to be your Jubilee year, your special year, where all of your healings happen, where you finally get everything that you've been trying to get in the years past, where you heal your life. So first, I want us to just get into very simple, easy alpha waves. And to do that, we're going to do something called quantum resting. And quantum resting, it's not meditation. It's a very simple entree, if you will, into the generous present moment. And you just do that by becoming mindful. Listen to the sounds. There's a bird outside. Look at your environment. Feel this tingling sensation through all of your body. Just feel your entire body. You'll feel it tingling. You'll feel a tingling sensation. It's very prominent in your lips and in your hands. You're totally present, guys. Another little trick, if you want, you can look up to the horizon a little bit. This automatically produces alpha waves. Your eyes will start to flutter. You're now an alpha, guys, and it took about a minute. Your brain is totally suggestible. Now, what is it that you want? What healing do you want? Is it for others? Doing it for others is specifically powerful, guys. You can see that friend of yours completely healed from whatever illness they've been suffering from. That friend who's unemployed, you can see them gainfully employed. You can see yourself making the amount of money that you want every month, whether that's $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month. See it. Don't try to feel it, but as you see it, and as you go through your imaginal scene or your self-talk or whatever it is, it could be a variety of different mechanisms, you'll start to feel it. Don't worry about how it's going to happen or if it's going to happen on the outer. Just enjoy it and feel it now. And now you feel it and just say, thank you, Father. It is done. And that's it. You've created that healing. Now, Neville Goddard says, give yourself a fragrance of that every few minutes, every few hours. So just every few minutes, stop and say, thank you, Father, that I'm now making $10,000 a month. Or thank you that so-and-so is healed. You may see evidence to the opposite of that. And you can choose to interpret that however you want. You can say that, no, this is just a step towards what I want. You can also say that didn't happen, and you can revise it, and you can assume the opposite. So if you heard that so-and-so's ill, you can just imagine that you heard that that person is getting better. Because it is your universe. You're creating it at every moment. And once you learn that, all healing is yours, guys. So happy little bit late New Year, and we are going to be releasing videos, of course, as usual, every week on interiorism. This is healing your life, guys, in 2025. This is building the life of your dreams by rearranging your mental furniture, by building your interior. It reflects on the outer, that is interiorism. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thanks for liking the videos. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Help us get the word out and receive all of the updates of our videos as they come out every week. Till very soon, guys, this is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa bidding you a wonderful weekend.